And good afternoon, everybody. It's Kurt Staley from Simcoe Plastics, the good guy in plastics, coming to you from our sales headquarters located at Office Inc. in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. Haven't done a video for about a month or so. I've been really hard at work on 3 new plastics processing initiatives that I'm involved with, and the acquisition of a 4th company to make something pretty dynamic and something revolutionary in terms of plastics reclamation, processing, and product creation. And I'll keep you posted, I promise, as soon as we can get to the point where we can disclose some details. I wanted to do a video today to sort of sum up many of the key things that I've been talking about and reflecting a lot on what I'm seeing in social media and now some Canadian, specifically Ontario government thoughts around banning single-use disposable plastics, which I think on the surface has a certain element of feel-good to it, but really we need to look at the back end of the issue, and that's the reclamation and reprocessing. We need to fortify that. Regardless of what we ban on single-use plastics, we're still consuming far more than we are reclaiming and reprocessing. So you'll have to excuse my rather terrible stick figure-esque scale, but I think it really shows what we want is a balance, and a balance between the production and consumption of plastics and the reclamation and recycling. So we can't just pick up plastics in our blue bin or an industrial level and then en masse dump them in landfill. We have to do something with them. So fortunately, there is a lot of infrastructure in place on a municipal and provincial basis to pick up plastics, be it at the municipal level or we would say post-industrial scrap, so at industry, at the plastics processing plants. We have a good job done in terms of picking up plastics, but we're not recycling enough. And there's a couple reasons for that. The market that would absorb recycled plastics needs to be further developed, and there needs to be a greater degree of agreement from the consumer basis, the purchasing basis, to accept recycled content in the products that they're buying. Until there's consumer acceptance of reclaimed plastics, recycled plastics, there's going to be a glut potentially in the market without homes for it to go to. So we need increased consumer acceptance, and this can come from a grassroots movement of consumers speaking out, which is happening, of course, demanding more recycled content, retailers, purchasing groups pushing for recycled content, and I see it more and more. So it is happening, but it needs to be continually ramped up. And when we have the pull from the supply side, then that's fantastic. We can start reclaiming and recycling more, and that's part of the projects that I'm involved in. Now, in terms of production and consumption, we're still producing and consuming far more than we're reclaiming. So do we have to consume a little bit less? Yeah, I think we do. Do we need an outright ban on certain things? I don't think that's the answer. I'm going to tell you right now, straws, that's been a hot topic. Straws are made from copolymer polypropylene. It's one of the most recyclable materials that's accepted. We can do so much with it. Banning them outright, I'm not sure that's the right answer. As I've described in past videos, one of the reasons that plastics are so prevalent is because they have such a low carbon footprint. They're cheap, relatively speaking. They're easy to process. They can be processed very quickly. And there are a lot of competing products that they just aren't as efficient from the production side. So do we throw away everything that we've done on the production side because we're not reclaiming and recycling? I think the answer is we have to ensure that municipalities across any jurisdiction have equivalent equipment and can reclaim and reprocess, recycle these types of materials, be they straws or cutlery or whatever the case. We have to be able to reprocess them. And until that's done, I'm not sure a ban is really the answer, because then we'll be looking at, say, straws made from paper lined with wax. Is that recyclable? Well, that's even more of a problem because we can't do anything with it. Plastic straws, I know they're a bone of contention, but they are recyclable. They are. If you look at things like cutlery, yeah, sure, we can move away from plastic cutlery. We can encourage people to take metal cutlery to work with them for lunch. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you have plastic for that? So there has to be some intelligence. So we can call it intelligent consumption of plastics. We can get away from some of the single-use disposables and cutlery, take our own stuff. Water bottles. You can buy high-quality stainless steel water bottles from so many sources. There isn't really a need for water bottles for most of us. But the idea of being able to sell bottled water into jurisdictions or applications where tap water isn't readily available or it's not good enough quality, there's merit to that. So why would you want to ban something that actually has a good application and the alternatives may not be as efficient? So that's really what I'm getting at. We have to look at our own personal plastics consumption and make some better ideas. But outright bans, I'm very cautious about that. And how do we decide what things to ban? And if we start banning certain things, let's talk about bags. Bags are easy to reprocess. The equipment, a densifier, it's not a big capital purchase. It's easy to do. But we need to have guidelines across our jurisdiction that would dictate that plastic bags can be picked up and reprocessed. The plastic that's reclaimed from a bag, it's typically a low-density polyethylene, it's very useful. We can find post-consumer uses for it. That's not a challenge. So I would urge you to really rethink the idea of a plastics ban, but think more about the reclamation and the recycling of plastics done properly and done thoroughly to bring balance to our use of plastics. That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. It's food for thought, and hopefully you'll think about what you buy in plastic. So until next video, as always, protect your playground. This is Kurt Staley from Simcoe Plastics. We'll talk to you soon.